after dealing with days and weeks with all this cold weather that's been keeping you cooped up in this house because you're tired of the cold weather, get ready for a change as a ridge of high pressure is going to build for majority of the country that will warm things up significantly. And along with that, if you live in the southeast, we see temperatures in the upper 70s to possibly low 80s and the 50-degree temperature line getting very close to Ohio. And along with that, these anomalies will be very ballistic and very above average. And along with that, this will get people sick because all this cold weather and switching to warm will get people sick. So please be aware for that. And also, we got some more storms coming too. So let's get right towards the video. Alright everybody, so now let's get right into the video. So I hope you're having a very good Sunday morning. I am too. In this video, we're going to be talking about a huge significant warm that is fixing to take place in the majority of the US. Things are fixing to warm up, but at the same time, if you live in parts of the southeast, it's also going to be a wet one for y'all for the next couple of days. So if you like these videos I be doing on my channel, please hit that like button and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. So first of all, let's talk about what's going on right now and what's going to happen tomorrow, because we fix to have a huge ice storm in parts of eastern Oklahoma, most of Arkansas, and parts of Missouri, Indiana, and the North. Get ready for a lot of ice with this system that's fixing to make its way through. And this system will bring lots of ice, so please be aware for that. This will knock down trees. This will knock down power lines. Please be aware for this. So now, let's get right into the video. So you can see here our little storm right here towards the southwest, making its way towards the central U.S. This will bring a lot of heavy rain if you live in parts of Texas, Louisiana, but also a lot of ice if you live in parts of eastern Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri, and possibly Indiana in the north. So get ready for a lot of ice, and also get ready for a huge warm after the storm. So now we're gonna look at our overall 6-hour weather precept, what the weather's gonna be like in the next coming days, because things are fixing to get very warm but in the same time very wet. So first of all, let's start with today. So now we're gonna look at right now. So right now, not really much going on right now. We do got a little bit going southwest, but this same storm system will be working its way towards the central U.S. Look at this. Bring lots of heavy rain reports to Texas. Look at all this purple and pink right here. That's ice. So if you live in parts of eastern Oklahoma, central Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, Missouri, get ready for a lot of ice, guys. And this will bring down some trees and some power lines. So please be aware for that. But at the same time, this system will bring a lot of heavy rain with parts of the southern side of the system. A lot of rain with parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas. But look at this. By the time we get towards January 24th, this is when things start to warm right back up. Look at this. In the same time, it's going to be warm and wet for parts of the southeast. Seeing rain after rain after rain for parts of Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi. The whole southeast U.S. states is going to see a lot of heavy rain. A lot of heavy rain for parts of the west, including California, Nevada, Idaho. Get ready for a lot of rain for parts of the southeast. Look at this. This rain just constantly stays for parts of the southeast. And with this rain just staying here like that, this will cause flooding. So please be aware for flooding with this rain coming through. Look at this. But in the same time, at least it ain't gonna be colder. I mean, right? Because cold rain is miserable. It keeps you in the house all day. Don't want to be outside. But in the same time, it will be pretty warm. Temperatures will be in the 70s. But look at this. By the time we get towards late this week, this rain's still gonna be here, but it does slack up by the time we get towards next weekend. But look at this. Even towards next weekend, we got more another storms to make its way through by next weekend, next Saturday. But look at this. After that system, things will quiet up by the time we get towards the end of January. And look like most of the whole U.S. is gonna be quiet on the few last days of January. So now, how much rain we gonna see? Because it's gonna be a wet one, especially if you live in parts of the southeast. So how much rain can fall now until January 30th? So now on January 30th, yes, the southeast is gonna get blattered by a lot of rain. Parts of Texas, you can see anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain. Parts of Georgia, upstate South Carolina, you can see anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of rain. Parts of the Panhandle of Florida, the western Panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, you can see anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rain. So this system will bring lots of rain because it's gonna be raining for a couple of days. Look at this. Back towards the west, gonna be a wet one for y'all too. If you live in parts of Oregon, Washington, get ready for a lot of heavy rain. Y'all can see anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rain. Parts of California, you will see anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of rain. So now let's get right in towards the GFS. How much rain the GFS is predicting? Well, the GFS is showing that we're gonna lose the latest run on this. The GFS is showing that yes, GFS is going a little bit over ballistic with the rain from parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, but still not showing much rain with parts of South Carolina. But still, we still got disagreement. But both models showing a lot of rain with parts of the southeast. So now let's get right into the overall temperatures because things are fixing to warm up significantly, and this warm will stick for a while. So now, by the time we get in towards Monday, which is tomorrow, January 22nd, waking up on Monday morning, first day of your work week, getting your kids to school. Yeah, it's going to be a chilly one for parts of the southeast, even parts of Panama, Florida. It's going to be a chilly one for y'all. The northeast, going to be a chilly one for y'all. So please be aware for that when you're getting your kids to school. But look at this, Monday highs, when your kids get home from school, yeah, it's still going to be a cold one for parts of the southeast. Not as cold for parts of Florida. In fact, it's going to stay warm for Florida. Louisiana is going to stay warm. Southeast Texas is going to stay warm. But rest of y'all, things actually does warm back up for the whole U.S. because we're not seeing all these negative temperatures. All these negative temperatures going to stay locked in towards Canada. But look at this. Pretty warm for parts of the southeast. Southwest pretty warm. Parts of the northwest pretty warm. Not too warm for parts of the northeast. But look at this. Waking up on Tuesday morning, yeah, things start to warm back up for parts of southeast Texas, the deep south, the south central U.S. Temperatures going to be in the 60s in the morning. So yeah, that's pretty warm. And look at this. Wait till we see Tuesday highs. The highs on Tuesday are going to be warm. Might as well say the whole southeast is going to see warm temperatures. The whole U.S. is going to be much warmer too. Thanks for a lot of rich and high pressure is going to take place. But look at this. Tuesday highs. Yeah, it's going to be warm for y'all. The deep south going to be pretty warm. But how about this? How about Wednesday morning? Check this out. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s in the mornings. The lows this far north for parts of Wisconsin, Michigan is going to be in the 30s. Yeah, that's pretty warm. But look at this. Wednesday highs. Yeah, it's going to be a warm one for a lot of people in the southeast and the deep south, especially southeast Texas. Temperature's going to be in the upper 70s. Florida temperature's going to be in the low 80s. Parts of the South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina, temperature's going to be in the 70s. Yeah, it's going to be a warm one for y'all. But look at this. Thursday morning. This is crazy. Look at this. Wake up on that's not Thursday morning. This is Thursday. Okay, yeah, this is Thursday morning. Look at this. Thursday morning. Look at these temperatures on Thursday morning. Temperatures are going to be in the 60s. 60 degrees in the morning for this time of year. That's more like March. Or not really March. More like that. More like April standards. But look at this. The whole U.S. Look at this. Parts of Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, seeing temperatures in the 50s at Thursday morning for this time of the year. That's well above average for this time of the year. And this will stick for a while. Look at this. Thursday afternoon, boy, it's going to be a warm one for parts of the southeast, especially if you live in parts of Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Temperature's going to be in the upper 70s, getting very close to low 80s. The whole southeast is going to be very warm. The northeast is going to be very warm. Look how warm it's going to be for the northeast. Look how warm it's going to be for the upper Midwest. Look how warm it's going to be for parts of the upper Northwest. It's still going to be warm, but look how far north this 30-degree temperature line stay. Like, look at this. 30 degrees are parts of Canada. Yes. For this time of the year, Canada should not see 30-degree temperatures highs for this time of the year. But that's pretty warm, guys. Look at this. By the time we get in towards Friday morning, it's still going to be a warm for parts of the southeast, but this cold front does make its way down. Not a strong cold, but things does start to cool down a little bit by the time we approach January, but still going to be pretty much above average a little bit for parts of the Canada. But look at this. By the time we get towards the end of January, this warm air start to go away by the time we get towards January 29th, and things start to cool right back down. But look at this. We still going to have well above average temperature for parts of Canada. Look at this. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s this far north in this time of the year. Wow. Like, I'm just saying wow. And let's show you the temperature anomalies because this is also ballistic. So, right now, we still dealing with some below average temperatures because it's still cold right now. But look at this. By the time we get towards later this week, into this mid this week, things start to warm right back up. Look at all these above anomalies start to build up. Parts of Canada, the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Southeast, and this does get ballistic. Look at this. By Thursday, going to see some very, very above average anomalies. If you live in parts of the Southeast, you can see anywhere from 21 to 23 degrees above average. Look at this. Parts of Canada, you're going to see some above average temperatures. Look at this. These above average temperatures does stick. But look at this. The Southwest will still stick near normal to slightly below normal temperatures. But look at this. Back towards Canada. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. It can get worse than this. Y'all probably can't see this, but if I can scroll this up, move this out the way, look at this. You probably can't see, but look at that. That's temperature anomalies anywhere from, I don't gotta move this. Let me see this. Y'all probably can't see this, but if I can scroll this down, look at this. Look at this. Look at all this. Look at this. This is anywhere from 45 to 65 degrees above average. Yes. That's very, very warm, very significant. Like that's something that's well above average. And the reason why, because seeing temperatures in the 40s and 50s this far north in this time of year is not good. I mean that's not normal to see temperatures that warm this far north in this time of the year. So that's why the temperature number is so ballistic. That's well above average. So now let's look at what's causing this? What's causing these above average temperatures? Well, thanks for a lot of ridge of high pressure that's fixing to build up. And this ridge of high pressure, this lot of ridge is what's going to keep these temperatures warm and above average. So you say goodbye to all these below average, these Arctic blasts, say goodbye to all that, and say hello to this warm temperature starting to build. But look at this. By the time we're getting towards January 23rd, look at this, guys. Look at all this. To better understand this is height anomalies. So the blue represents below average heights, means below average temperatures, cooler temperatures, and unsettled well. Look at this. The orange and red, and even getting towards the pink, represents high pressure, above average heights, above average temperatures, and warmer temperatures. Look at this. Look at all these red anomalies start to build up. Look at all these above average heights. A lot of regions start to build up parts of the northern U.S., northeast. Look at this. This ridge of high pressure does get pretty strong, and that's why temperatures are going to be very, very warm, especially if you live in parts of the deep south. Seeing temperatures in the upper 70s, possibly low 80s for this time of the year. God, this is more like a La Nina weather pattern. The southeast is supposed to see cooler weather during the El Nino. And I'm fixing to show you the end zone just after this. Just after this part, I'm fixing to show you the end zone because we are fixing to transition back towards a La Nina this summer. And that's going to be very concerning for this upcoming hurricane season. But look at this. So that ridge high pressure does get pretty strong for parts of the northeast, and the thing is, it just sits there. It doesn't move. It just sits there, and that's allowing temperatures to get warmer and warmer and warmer. But look at this. This high pressure start to move out of the way, but look at this. More ridge of parts of Canada start to build. Look at this. Look at this. This is crazy. Look at this. Very strong high pressure for parts of Canada. So things are going to be pretty warm for parts of Canada. The northern U.S. is going to be pretty warm. But look at this. We do get a little small trough that does start to make its way through the southeast. So that will cool things down. But besides that, rest of the U.S., especially the Northwest, Canada, look at this. This is off the charts. This is a very strong high pressure, very strong high pressure. That's going to keep temperatures significantly above average. Like that's a very strong. Look at that's some very, very above average heights right there. Very warm. So now, if I'm recording this, okay, yeah. So now we're gonna look at this, is because this is also very concerning. Now, I will do my hurricane, like I said in my last video, I will start doing my first hurricane season outlook starting this spring. But look at this. I know we still in the El Nino right now, but look at this. By the time we progress towards spring, which is March and April, we will be in a neutral phase, which is that's between a La Nina and an El Nino. But look at this. Look what comes back. Something we not seen since last year. La Nina. It starts to build right back up. By the time we get into our summer, by the time we get into our late summer through fall, we're going to be in a very strong La Nina. The climate predictors are saying that we could be anywhere from a 7 to 8% chance of being a full-blown La Nina this hurricane season, and that will be pretty bad. Look at this. All the climate models take us all the way back down towards a neutral phase. We already starting to go down just a little bit. Not quite yet. We don't start doing that downtrend until like February. But look at this. We going down toward the neutral phase by the spring, this summer. We will probably be back in the La Nina. So to better understand this, guys, this ain't gonna be no weak La Nina. This could be pretty strong, and that will be bad for this upcoming hurricane season. But because in the same time, the Atlantic waters are gonna still be pretty warm, like it were last year. But look at this, very huge downtrend like that. That just goes straight down, straight down. So something we need to keep in mind with, and look at this, to better understand this, I do want to show you the climate models because this is to better understand this, what the sea surface temperature can look like in the next coming months. And these are temperature anomalies, not sea surface temperatures. Sea surface temperature anomalies. When you see sea surface temperatures running below average for parts of the Equatorial Pacific, you call that La Nina, cooler than normal temperatures. But look at this. That starts to die down. Look at this. By the time we get in towards spring, which is April and May, look what comes back. That La Nina does get pretty strong, but look at this. In the same time, you got a very strong La Nina in a very warm Atlantic. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good, and that's gonna be bad. And this La Nina does get much stronger as we get in towards fall. So the Atlantic Ocean is still gonna be running above average. So now let's get right in towards this, the climate prediction center, because it's gonna be a warm one for parts of the northeast and the southeast. Look at this, the climate prediction center is saying that y'all can see anywhere from 80 to 90% chance of seeing above average temperatures for parts of West Virginia, North Carolina, Ohio. Parts of the northeast gonna see above average temperatures, still above average temperature. Parts of the west definitely above average temperature. Parts of the west, especially California. Neo-normal temperatures for parts of South Texas. Florida gonna see some above average temperatures. Precipitation, yes, the southeast and northeast gonna be a wet one. The southwest gonna be a pretty dry one. But look at this, the northwest is gonna be a wet one too. And I don't know what to say this, but it's gonna be pretty dry for parts of the southwest. Now the 8 to 14 day outlook. The last couple of days into January through the first couple of days into February look like the northern tip of the U.S., especially northwest, is gonna be well above average temperatures. And precipitation rise, yes, like the southeast is gonna be pretty dry, while the western U.S. is gonna be pretty wet. So that's gonna be it for this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you on my next video. Peace out.